You got the drop on 50 Cent one time?
We thought we did until we got in there. Mike called us, told he was up there. I got up there. We got up there, we came in and strapped to they thigh, bullies on them, semis on them, magazine cartridges. I said, yeah, he ain't slipping.
Today's not the day.
Nah. 50 moved different. He moved different.
And did 50
I'm glad
see
that
you?
didn't happen. No, he see me. But he didn't know that's what we was on. We never approached him. I'm glad it never happened.
People always say 50 Cent is one of the sharpest minds in the rap game, and Wack100 learned that the hard way. Tony Yayo even put it plain and simple. G-Unit never had to check in with anyone, period. He called them a straight-up militant movement when they were on the move across the country. And 50, he made his mindset real clear.
Told us that, not trying to throw shots at him. Sure. But you could not do nothing to him.
I come from a place where you have to be ready. Don't get ready. You gotta be ready. That wasn't just talk either. So when Wack100 tried to put pressure on 50 Cent and extort him, he wasn't ready for the heat that came his way. So here's the story. Wack100 was running his mouth on Clubhouse like he usually does. And out of nowhere, he drops this wild tale about 50 Cent. He took it back to the time when 50 was out in LA, still going at it with the Game, who used to be part of G-Unit. Since Wack was managing Game at the time, he decided to step in like some kind of enforcer. According to Wack, he thought he could pull up on 50 and check him, at his hotel room no less. He said he got a tip that 50 was chilling at the SLS Hotel in LA, right at the little bar area. So Wack rolled in with about 10 people deep, thinking they were about to make some kind of power move. But Wack claims the second they walked in, something felt off. The vibe was icy, and that's when it hit him. 50 wasn't sitting there alone. Nah, he was surrounded by what looked like 8 trained killers, dudes who gave off serious Navy SEAL vibes. I'll never forget the move that dude 50 pulled, a move on us, so gangster, Wack said.
You got the drop on 50 Cent one time?
We thought we did.
Right.
We thought we did. Until we got in there.
He sounded like he was still shook just thinking about it. Turns out, 50 was 10 steps ahead, and Wack walked straight into a setup he didn't see coming. Wack said those dudes around 50 weren't just any bodyguards. They moved like a tight military unit. They were armed, alert, and laser-focused, like they were waiting for something to pop off. That's when it hit him. 50 didn't get caught slipping. Nah, he was ready for them. Wack even started thinking maybe 50 set the whole thing up on purpose, just to show who really runs things. Now here's where it gets messy. Some folks saw Wack's little hotel stunt as an attempt to extort 50, especially since 50 never checked in while in LA. And Wack, he's always going on about how important checking in is. He tries to play it down, saying it's just about letting people know you're in town, like it's no big deal. He even says he checks in himself when he travels. Might be down there Friday, he'll casually say. But anybody who knows the streets knows what checking in really means. See, in the rap world, especially when a city's got heavy gang presence, checking in means reaching out to powerful locals for a pass to move around safely. And trust, that pass ain't always free. It could mean dropping some cash, doing a feature for a local artist, handing over favors, whatever the street bosses want. Some folks say it's just respect, like, yo, I'm in your city, all love. But if that's all it is, why are there threats when someone doesn't check in? In LA, some artists go along with it, linking up with gangs for protection like it's street insurance. But not everybody rolls like that. And 50 Cent, he's made it crystal clear he's not with that program. But guess what? Wack wasn't the only one who tried to press 50. Suge Knight tried it too. Yeah, that Suge Knight. The tension goes way back, before 50 even blew up.
Mike called us, told he was up there. I got up there. He came in.
How deep were you?
About 15.
15 people.
Yeah, we wasn't that deep.
It all started with Dr. Dre leaving Death Row and building his own empire. Suge didn't take that too well. Then Dre signed Eminem, and when M brought 50 into the mix under Aftermath, that was like throwing gasoline on a fire. Suge Knight had beef with Dr. Dre for years, and when 50 Cent and Eminem got close with Dre, they ended up inheriting that smoke. Suge wasn't the type to squash old drama and move on. He made sure they knew he was still lurking, always watching, always ready to stir the pot. One of the wildest moments, the Indoor Club video shoot. Everything was going smooth, cameras rolling, vibes on point, until someone suddenly yelled, "Suge Knight is here!" That one line flipped the whole vibe upside down. Panic spread like wildfire. Suge didn't pull up solo either. He rolled in 30 deep with a crew that reportedly included members of a known Mexican gang. It was straight intimidation, classic Suge move. He didn't have to say a word, just showing up like that was enough to shake the whole production. People scattered. 50 and his team went outside, ready for whatever. Suge was all about that show of power, pulling up unannounced, making heads turn, and flexing his street presence like a warning shot. But things really exploded at the 2004 Vibe Awards. That night was supposed to be about honoring legends. Dr. Dre was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. Snoop Dogg and Quincy Jones were even there to present it. Everything was lined up to be a historic night in hip-hop. Then, bam! Out of nowhere, a man named Jimmy James Johnson stepped up to Dre like he was about to ask for an autograph. But instead, he sucker punched him, right there on stage. Total chaos broke out in seconds. People were screaming, chairs flying, and 1,000 guests scrambling for the exits in full-blown panic. Right in the middle of the madness, young Buck. Reports say Buck pulled a knife and started swinging it during the fight. It was later confirmed. He stabbed Johnson, supposedly trying to protect Dre. And Buck wasn't alone.
We got up there, we came in and shit. You had Navy SEALs with him. 2 in all directions. I was about 6 up.
Johnson got jumped by multiple people in the crowd before it finally settled down. The whole thing spiraled into a major legal mess. Arrest warrants were issued, and Buck ended up facing charges. And was Suge Knight behind it? Nobody can say for sure, but a lot of signs were pointing in that direction. Tony Yayo even said that not long after the chaos, he spotted Suge Knight and Irv Gotti casually strolling past the G-Unit trailer, like they were just watching the aftermath unfold with smirks on their faces. Something definitely smelled off. That moment alone, Suge and Irv casually strolling past the G-Unit trailer, was enough to set off alarm bells. Something shady was definitely brewing behind the scenes. And 50? He wasn't about to get caught off guard. The second he caught wind of the tension, he made a bold move. He reportedly told his team to go out and buy a bunch of knives. Yeah, that's how real it got. The energy was heavy, and 50 could feel something wasn't right. Better safe than sorry, and clearly, he wasn't wrong. In the fallout, Tony Yayo ended up getting slapped with 3 years of probation and had to do 80 hours of community service for his part in the madness. That incident was a reminder. 50 Cent doesn't play when it comes to protection and staying 2 steps ahead of trouble. He's always rolled with serious backup, not just hired security, but real ones with street sense and loyalty, ready to ride at a moment's notice.
Respect to Eminem, 50, and that was with us. So Suge came, he had some Mexican niggas. Now, we from New York. You ain't never seen a nigga with a tattoo on his forehead. Sliced the cigar, and it's the shit about Suge. He liked the cigar, and he was trying to see what you gonna do.
One name that always stood out, Monster. If you know, you know. Monster wasn't just some bodyguard in the background. He was 50's enforcer, his right-hand muscle. If you saw 50, Monster was never far behind. Always lurking, always watching. Quiet as a ghost, but dangerous if pushed. This dude was the definition of a silent threat. Low-key, no flashy talk, just all business. He didn't crave the spotlight, and that's why there's not much out there about him. But if you've watched any of 50's old behind-the-scenes footage or club appearances, you've definitely seen Monster lurking in the cut. There's even footage of 50 walking through an airport with paparazzi flashing lights. And there's Monster trying to block the cameras, keeping things tight. Whenever 50 hit the club scene or stepped on stage, Monster was there, posted up, eyes scanning the crowd, making sure nobody even thought about testing the boss. One intense moment was when 50 had tension with Trav on stage. Monster was locked in, watching every move, ready to snap into action the second things popped off. For years, Monster was like 50's personal shadow. Always alert, always in position. There were even rumors that 50 allegedly had a video taken down from a popular YouTube channel called Info Minds because it showed something Monster supposedly did on his behalf. Whatever it was, 50 didn't want that clip out there. Info Minds built its name by dropping deep dive street documentaries, and one of their videos hit a nerve. They released a piece that allegedly exposed 50 Cent's real security setup, putting a major spotlight on Monster's role as his personal enforcer. They didn't just talk about it either. They showed photos of Monster standing with 50 in different situations, breaking down how he was the one really keeping everything in check behind the scenes. But that wasn't even the wildest part. The video also reportedly exposed a crime 50 Cent was allegedly involved in.
You could see a shiny knife in his right hand. He lunges over the top with a stabbing motion. Police say that is 23-year-old young buck who then vanished.
According to claims, the video gave a full breakdown of what happened between 50 and Slowbucks at Hot 97 Summer Jam back in 2014. That's the same event where Slowbucks got punched and had his chain snatched, right on stage in front of everybody. Info Minds supposedly documented the entire timeline, detailing who was where and how it all went down.
I wouldn't say we were scared, but it was the Vibe Awards when we seen Suge Knight and Irv Gotti, and they walked past the trail.
50 Cent reached out to Info Minds directly and told them to take the video down. Not long after, it vanished from the channel. That move alone made people raise their eyebrows. Like, why take it down if there's nothing to hide? Monster's loyalty to 50 Cent also came at a heavy cost over the years. Being 50's protector wasn't just about standing around looking tough. It meant getting into real situations. And sometimes, that meant legal heat. Monster actually caught serious charges just for doing his job too well. Over time, Monster racked up multiple assault charges after going at people who tried to get too close to 50. One of the most notorious moments came in 2010 in Copenhagen, Denmark. Monster was charged with assault after allegedly attacking two photographers outside the Hotel Sankt Petri. The New York Daily News covered the whole thing. A photographer named Nicolo Ira told Radar Online that the vibe turned crazy real fast. He said one of 50's bodyguards came out and told the photographers to leave. The next thing he knew, he grabs my throat and tried to strangle me. He cut off my airway and I couldn't breathe. He took my camera and deleted photos.
50 just look at James Cruz, so he just tapped James Cruz and said, yo, go buy 20 knives. Yeah, just go to the hardware store. It was about 20 to 15 of us, something like that. Suge Knight got like some crazy looking, Compton looking dudes with him, you know what I'm saying?
That incident made international headlines and showed just how far Monster would go to protect 50 Cent. Whether it was a real threat or just too many flashes, Monster didn't play around. R.A. said he was so shaken up after the whole incident, he went straight to the hospital to get checked out. And he wasn't playing. He made it loud and clear that he was heading straight to the police to file a report and do whatever paperwork was needed. He wasn't letting that slide. But it makes you wonder, why does 50 Cent roll with so much security? Some folks try to clown him for having that level of protection, even accusing him of using off-duty cops. They say it's a weak move, but others, they see it as a smart play. When you've lived the life 50 has, you don't take chances. Especially when you remember what happened to him. He got shot 9 times. That's not something you just forget. And a name that always comes up when talking about that dark chapter? Supreme McGriff. Let's rewind to the 1980s. That's when Supreme founded the Supreme Team, a feared gang based in Jamaica, Queens. Under his rule, they had the streets on lock. We're talking hundreds of members and total control over the crack cocaine trade in the Baisley Park houses, where Premi grew up. At one point, his crew was reportedly making around $200,000 a day. Straight domination. But in 1987, McGriff got hit with a 12-year prison sentence. He got out in '94 on parole, but didn't stay out long. By the end of that year, he was locked back up. He didn't get a fresh start until '97, when he finally managed to clear some of those charges and came back trying to make moves in the music game.
Monster like the smallest, biggest security I ever know. Like his presence is big as fuck.
That's when he linked up with Ja Rule and the Murder Inc. crew. Premi became one of their top street protectors, looking out for the label's artists and keeping enemies at bay. At first, things between 50 and Premi were solid. Back then, 50 wasn't a big name. He was still grinding, trying to find his lane. Meanwhile, Ja Rule was already climbing the charts. So 50, hungry for attention, decided to shake things up by dissing the whole industry on his track, How to Rob. That's when things started heating up. Then came the full-blown beef with Ja Rule. According to 50, it all started after his boy Troy robbed Ja. Later, when 50 and Ja ran into each other at a club, 50 tried to squash it, but Ja wasn't having it. He thought 50 was part of the robbery. Ja later admitted the robbery happened but denied ever seeing 50 with the dude who did it. "I didn't even know," he said. But by then it was too late. Tension had taken over. That's when Supreme got involved. He told 50 to stop messing with Ja Rule. And since Premi was someone 50 once looked up to, he agreed to back off for a moment. But he kept throwing shots in his music anyway. Then, in 1999, tragedy hit both 50 and Premi. Their mutual friend, Black Just, was murdered.
What up, 50?
Yo, what up, 50? What up, man? How are you? So, 50, real quick.
Word is, rapper E-Moneybags had paid Prem a deposit for a car. But when he asked for his money back, Premi laughed it off. E-Moneybags didn't find it funny. One day he allegedly shot at Premi while he was in a car with Black, and it ended in bloodshed. Black just got hit twice. One shot even caught him in the thigh. But instead of rushing him straight to the hospital, which was just around the corner, Premi drove back to the hood and asked someone else to take Just in. That delay cost Just his life. And just like that, E-Moneybags made some serious enemies in the streets. Meanwhile, the beef between 50 Cent and Ja Rule was still sizzling. Premi stayed loyal to Ja, constantly trying to talk 50 into backing off and letting the drama go. But 50 wasn't having it. He didn't like how Premi kept siding with Ja, especially when 50 felt like he was being disrespected first. Plus, let's keep it real. Premi never saw 50 as a future star. He had Ja Rule bringing in the big money already, so why bother switching teams?
Hold on. Y'all better stop this.
Then things hit a whole new level of disrespect. Ja and 50 ended up performing at the same club one night, and chaos popped off. A brawl broke out, and by the end of it, 50 walked away with Ja Rule's chain. Yeah, he actually snatched it and later showed it off like a trophy in his Life's on the Line video. Total humiliation for Ja. Of course, Ja ran straight back to Prem, hoping he could get his chain returned. But Premi, he was done playing mediator. This was the second time he had to clean up Ja's mess, and now 50 was messing with Ja's image in public. Premi was fed up. 50, on the other hand, had zero plans to back down. He was fully locked in on taking down Murder Inc., and his relationship with Premi started to fall apart fast.
Hey, listen, 50 though.
Tony Yayo even told a story about one of their final run-ins, where 50 stood his ground and made it clear he wasn't scared of Premi anymore. Straight face-to-face tension. To turn the pressure up even more, 50 started hanging out with E-Moneybags, Big Nose Troy, and Green-Eyed Born, all dudes who had real issues with Supreme. That move alone made things 10 times hotter. And then, 50 dropped the now infamous track, Ghetto Quran. That song linked him directly to the streets, and it got back to Premi fast. In the song, 50 named names, including Supremes. And Premi, he did not like that one bit.
Serious video that vanished from InfoMind's channel was about none other than 50 Cent.
50 later said that other rappers had mentioned Premi and his past before, and Supreme had no problem with it. In fact, he was cool with the attention. But when 50 did it, it hit different, and it pushed their already shaky relationship to the edge. But when 50 dropped Ghetto Quran and mentioned Supreme's name, things got real. Other street figures from New York understood the song was more like a tribute, a way of documenting the streets and showing respect to the game's major players. But Premi, he didn't take it that way at all. He felt like 50 was exposing too much, and he got furious. Around the same time, someone tried to take out Supreme at a gas station. He survived, but he didn't let it go. He was convinced that 50 Cent had something to do with the hit, and that's when he decided it was time to eliminate his enemies, starting with 50. Premier allegedly hired Daryl Homo Baum, who used to be Mike Tyson's bodyguard, to do the job, and word is, he paid him big money to make 50 disappear.
This is what Info Minds did. He would show pictures of 50 Cent, different pictures of 50 Cent in regular settings, right? Until Info Minds highlighted this guy that was in like every picture.
Then came May 24th, 2000, the day that changed hip-hop history. 50 Cent had just left his grandmother's house, with his son still inside and his grandma out front. As he got into the back seat of a car, another car pulled up out of nowhere. A man stepped out, walked right up to the window, and unloaded 9 shots from a 9mm. 50 was hit in the hand, arm, hip, both legs, chest, and even in the left cheek. One bullet barely missed a major artery, a few inches higher, and he would have been gone. But somehow, he survived. After 3 intense weeks in the hospital and multiple surgeries, 50 pulled through. That shooting became one of the most iconic survival stories in hip-hop history.
Remember that shit that happened to Slow Bucks on that stage? Info Minds documentary had footage from that Slow Buck situation. He was highlighting niggas and shit.
3 years later, 50 dropped Many Men, and in the track, he revealed that Homo was the shooter. But by then, Homo was already dead. Not because of 50, but reportedly due to separate street retaliation. While 50 dodged death, his enemies weren't as lucky. In July 2001, E Moneybags was found dead in his Lincoln Navigator. Rumors flew. Some said it was revenge for Black Just's death, while others believed it was tied to an alleged robbery of Irv Gotti and Ja Rule. Then Big Nose Troy, another name on the streets, was gunned down just 3 months later. The body count kept rising, and law enforcement couldn't ignore it anymore. By 2002, the police had enough to arrest Kenneth Supreme McGriff on multiple murder charges. During the investigation, Supreme even brought up 50's song, Ghetto Quran, claiming it was evidence that could be used against him. But when detectives asked 50 for more information on the lyrics, he simply said, "Just listen to the record." Meanwhile, Murder Inc. came under heavy fire. In 2003, Irv Gotti was under investigation, and by 2005, he was officially charged with laundering money for Supreme. That move put the entire label at risk of crumbling. But in the end, Gotti beat the case. The jury found him not guilty on all charges. Supreme, though, he wasn't so lucky. The court hit him hard. He was convicted of drug trafficking, racketeering, and murder in New York federal court.
50 up there. Cream, dude, you know the old school shit. You know what 50 did? Yeah, my nigga.
Do it back, yeah.
Yeah, my nigga.
That's
you know what the block did?
Yeah, that's what
And just like that, one of the most feared street legends was taken off the board for good. Using witness testimony from a known hitman, plus damning text messages and video evidence, prosecutors were able to prove that Supreme McGriff paid $50,000 to have people killed. And when the law came crashing down, it came hard. All of McGriff's and Irv Gotti's assets were seized. McGriff couldn't even afford a lawyer by the end. He had to settle for a court-appointed attorney. And on April 9th, 2007, he was hit with the ultimate sentence, life in prison. Just like that, one of the most feared names in the game was taken off the streets for good. The attempt on 50 Cent's life changed everything. Before the shooting, folks respected his hustle and music, but after surviving 9 bullets, he was seen as untouchable. That moment turned him into a symbol of survival, toughness, and grit. It wasn't just a turning point for his career, it shook up the entire hip-hop world. So when people criticize him for rolling deep with security, they're missing the point. It's not about fear, it's about being smart. After everything he's been through, protecting himself isn't weakness. It's straight wisdom. 50 knows what's out there, and he's not letting history repeat itself. If you made it this far, you already know this story's wild. So don't forget to drop a comment, smash that like button, subscribe for more, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. See you in the next one.